Back in the McCann Center, Marist getting ready to take on Manhattan tonight, retiring Rachel Fitt's jersey in just a moment. But before there's basketball, got to talk to the head coach, Brian Giorgis. My name's Jeff Brault. You're listening to the Christo's pregame coaches report. It's brought to you, of course, by Christo's Restaurant. Located next to the McCann Golf Course in Poughkeepsie, Christo's is your home for fine dining and catering. Coach, team kept rolling against Canisius in the last game. 12-point margin of victory. One of those games, if a fan thinks that teams got to win by 30 for it to be a good win, well, they'd be wrong. Only a 12-point victory, but a very solid win against a Canisius team that gave you a great game. Team played well.
I thought so, especially on the offensive end. We shot almost 48% from the field, which was great. We didn't shoot the three well. We shot our free throws well. Defensively, you just tip your hat to what Canisius did. I mean, they had a number of threes right in our face. It wasn't like it was poor defense or we got lost on assignments or screens or whatever, but they just stuck a bunch of threes there. You know, he's got a lot of good, nice young kids, so to be able to get a double-digit victory when they're shooting the ball that well, I was pleased.
Yeah, I was very impressed by Canisius, a young team. They started 3 freshmen. It just seems like a team that's getting better and better as the season goes along. You said after the game that you were glad that they gave you such a strong test. Why is that?
Well, we need tests because the MAC tournament's not going to be a cakewalk. You know, some of the teams, people like tonight's opponents, Manhattan, have just been playing. Outside of losing their first 2 games in the MAC, they've steamrolled everybody except us. Loyola hasn't lost anyone since us. There's a number of quality teams. The teams in the upper half of the MAC have been playing extremely well. And, we need to be in tough tests so that, down the stretch we know what to do if we're in one of those.
And this Manhattan game is one of the hardest games remaining on the schedule, if not the hardest game left on the schedule. Jaspers play that 1-3-1 zone defense, had some success against it in Riverdale a few weeks ago. Do you expect them to come back out with that defense? Are you preparing for maybe a different look tonight?
To me, you go with what brought you there. They've won 6 in a row since our last game, playing the 1-3-1. They're going to do what they know how to do best. And they've been led by Abby Wentworth, who's just having an incredible senior year. They just play great defense. I think they're leading the country in defense, in scoring defense. So we've got our work cut out for us. But, hopefully with the crowd behind us and Rachel back and stuff, kids will be up for it and ready for the challenge.
We'll talk about Rachel in just a second, but just to finish up against Manhattan, you mentioned Abby Wentworth and all that she's doing for the team, probably going to be a postseason first team, or at least she should be. In my opinion, what are the keys to getting the victory against the Jaspers, a good team and also an unorthodox team in that defense?
Well, the main thing is we're going to have to take care of the basketball. They're forcing a lot of turnovers, over 18, 19 a game, and we've got to make shots. They don't give you many shots inside that are really contested. So, like we did down there, we're going to have to shoot the basketball well from the perimeter.
Now, of course, Rachel Fitz is in the building. A big crowd is going to come with that, and hopefully that, like you mentioned, will give Marist a little lift in this game. It's the first time that any Marist women's basketball player has ever had their jersey retired. You recruited Rachel, you coached her for all 4 years. I have to imagine that this is a special moment for you as well.
It really is, because obviously, her numbers are phenomenal. I mean, the things that she's done statistically not only makes her the best player in Marist district, but she arguably, and I think without question, is the greatest player in MAC history. So, it's nice that she's able to come back to do this. It's nice that Marist can do this for her, and we hope the final present we can give her is a win on that game.
I know one of your favorite things to do is to look back on some of the fond memories throughout the year. There have been a lot of them, and Rachel has been a part of many of them. Do you have a favorite Rachel Fitz memory over her career? I know it might be hard to choose just one.
Well, it really is. Some of the things I remember where her BU game up at Boston University, where she had, I think, 38, and couldn't get anybody to tell me what the single game record was. I thought she had it, but she was 1 point short, so I screwed that up. Because she didn't play the last 12 minutes of the game, so I think she would have scored 2 more. But she just shot the ball incredibly well. She had a great game against Ohio State as well as with Julianne. She just had lots of real solid games throughout the past. Her first game is kind of memorable because I think she played about 2 minutes of first rotation, picked up 2 fouls, no points in the first half, and comes up with 20 in the second half. So kind of gave you a foreshadowing of what was to come when a freshman could score 20 and a half.
And just like that, her career was off and running. Rachel and all that she's meant for the program, I mean, you can see it in just the wins and the NCAA tournament victories and all that. Is there a way to sum up exactly what she's meant for Marist women's basketball and its profile?
Well, obviously she's been one of the best player in a program of great players. I think the thing that gets lost in all of it is they think, oh, it was just Rachel. But, Rachel played a position where she had to rely on other people. People like Julianne Vianney and Elisa Kresge and Nikki Flores and, Erica Allensbaum, all those people didn't get her the ball. She wouldn't have these type of numbers. She'd have rebounding numbers. But people were able to get her the ball in the right place. And, in my opinion, and I've coached a lot of great players in high school, people that went on to be All-Americans, professional players, best finisher I've ever seen.
Rachel Fitz would say the exact same thing about her teammates helping her to all her success. We congratulate her on that, and we'll hear from her coming up at halftime. But for now, thanks to Brian Giorgis for his time getting ready for Marist and Manhattan in the McCann Center. Stay tuned. You're listening to Marist Women's Basketball on GoRedFoxes.com.